to get our panel started, let me introduce to you our guests. First of all, we have here Mr. Kevin Breen with Caldwell Banker Elite. He is the broker owner of Caldwell Banker Elite. And actually, when I started real estate over 16 years ago, I was an agent at Kevin's office. So
that explains everything.
this is where I got my start. So it was fabulous. And how
Sorry,
long...
guys. I did my darn best.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't share that. Okay. So how long have you actually been in real estate?
45 years.
45 years. Wow. And did you start in real estate in Ireland or here?
Not here.
Okay, all right. That would be cool though. Oh, do you have your broker's license in Ireland?
No, it's a different animal in Ireland.
Okay, okay.
Actually, it's getting more like here now, but back in the day it was basically auctioneering.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're gonna have to do another panel on international real estate. Ooh, okay, all right. Sorry, get excited. Yes, and next we have Miss Pia Contreras Sanchez. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. With Prime Realty, yes, broker owner with Prime Realty. And how long have you been in real estate?
As an agent, 18, in the business for 20.
Wow, you must have started so young, honey. Yes. Yes. And then we have here Miss Katrina Dodson, and she is the broker owner of Exit Realty. And how long have you been in the business?
22 years.
Wow. Okay, so
Well, actually,
see,
24 years, excuse me.
so like I said, guys, we are getting some really great knowledge here.
Oh, no,
What? What did you say?
Experiences, we're getting some great experiences.
Season. Oh no, I'm not calling you old. None of you are old. Season. Okay, so I wanted you guys to get to know our panelists a little bit. So I asked them a question first. And so we'll go back here to Kevin. Tell us one thing about yourself that you don't think anybody else here in the room knows, even Deb.
Clay screwed me up when he came in. then I switched in my head, and then Deb walked in. I said, "Oh crap!" Now, so even though Clay or Deb may know this, everybody else probably does not. When I started, Allison's dad and I started the company in February 1980. In 1982, I had to convince him to join Caldwell Banker, and that was an arm wrestling for a little bit trying to. But the main reason, and this I love this, the main reason he agreed to go along with me to join Caldwell Banker. We were the first Caldwell Banker in Virginia, and the reason that I was pushing was because Sears owned Caldwell Banker at the time, and Sears was putting Caldwell Banker stores in the Caldwell Banker offices in their stores, right?
Wow.
So I had this great dream of we could have offices in all these Sears stores. Well, you know what happened to Sears, but and it was also we'd build a company and it'd be an exit strategy. We'd sell our business to Sears, right? Well, in recent times, we probably could have bought Sears because if we were willing to take over all their debt.
Yes.
But what's ironic is that that was 1982. Now our downtown office, nobody in here remembers it, but our downtown office was the Sears catalog store. And so it seems like everything in your life is a circle. You start here, and if you're around long enough, that circle. So
yes.
That's my bit.
Oh, that is pretty cool, guys. I didn't know that. All right, so everyone go look at Macy's and see if you can go sit in Macy's and sell real estate. All right, Pia, what about you?
Wow, after this story,
I
wasn't prepared for that at all. Well, I think that one thing that you guys don't know about me is that my accent is from New Jersey. Well, no, seriously, I was born in New Jersey, but I was raised in Chile. My family is from Chile, so I came back just, I don't know, 28 years ago only, and That's
Wow.
basically my story. My parents, both Chilean, met in New Jersey, and that's where I was born.
That is so awesome. Very cool. And also, Mr. Fabio here, his accent is from, where did we say? Ohio. Yeah. All right, Katrina.
It's a hard one
Now
to
remember,
follow.
it's something no one else in here knows about you.
That's rough, but there is a couple people that might know this.
Okay.
I like to blow things up.
Okay. Okay.
It's usually legal.
It's usually legal. Okay.
I have a lot of firearms,
Okay.
and I like tannerite. I use it a lot.
Okay. And hold on. Now let's just be clear with this. You have a lot of land on your property.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't use it on clients
Safe explosions.
most of the time.
Safe.
She's not going downtown and shooting off things. So okay. All right.
I'm actually a really big redneck. Most people don't know that.
Mhm. With your fancy little shawl and your fancy little nails and your Okay. All right. Very cool. All right. So I am going to turn over this portion of the meeting to Miss Allison Graves, who is the queen of YPN. Chair, queen, president. I like to give her lots of names. And so we have come up with some questions that we're going to be asking these guys, to make sure that you take lots of notes, and then there will be time for more of your questions at the end. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thanks for doing introductions. Thanks for everyone for being here. We really appreciate your time. We know that you could be anywhere else, and it's really important that we're learning from some of our industry's top leaders and how we can set ourselves up for success. So one question to start it off is, what did you do early on in your career that set you all up for success?
Besides Sears.
Oh, starting with me?
Yep.
All right. Just a little bit of background. I was an athlete growing up. I came to America on a track scholarship, went to college, and I had maybe say a 10-year career as an athlete. I'd go back to Europe in the summer for track meets, and actually in the winter I'd go home for cross-country meets. But so that was my passion. I lived and died for athletics. And so when my athletic career came to an end on a high level, where for years later, I competed for fun, but when I got into real estate, and I was only going to get into real estate for 1 year, just to learn the business, because I'd always done much different. I worked in much different areas, and like a tool and die guy. So I started at 1 year in real estate and absolutely found that was the replacement for me for my athletic career. And I got the same adrenaline pump, I got the same high of getting a contract done. And if you're thinking back in the late 1970s into the 80s, we were still traveling around in the car getting signatures. There was no fax machines, there was no
Carbon copies.
carbon copies and all that. So a lot of hours went into it, but something that I think, the love of the business, I absolutely love working with people. I noticed over the years that most of my best friends were people I'd sold houses to. So it became a career but not a job. I never got up in the morning and felt, oh crap, I gotta go to work today. Never once in 45 years have I felt that way. And I think that's the big secret, because you put up with all such crap because there's so much good, and you get such a great feeling out of what you're doing, that you can put up with the the downs, because the ups are great. Between the relationships that you build, and honestly also the fabulous people that we've had in the company over the years. You look at your own companies. I think we're a very unique area here. There's such a diverse group with such diverse backgrounds. It's wonderful. So over the years, I've really enjoyed the people that I've worked with, and never mind getting up early in the morning, going to the office. So I think passion, having a passion for the business is really important, because you can get over the downs if you really like what you're doing. And I think that for me, that was I found a new passion, and I think that's why I'm still at it 45 years later. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pia?
Well, when you start doing something that you love, right? You really don't think, okay, where am I going? Or my goal is to be, have this brokerage and agents and all that. You just feel the passion of working with people. And in my case, for example, a lot of with my community. So when you see the happiness of someone owning a house, their first home, something that they would never imagine to, and this doesn't only apply for, immigrants or, just first-time home buyers, and the excitement of the whole family. And after you give them the key, the happiness is that what really becomes a joy for you. So I think that when you enjoy that so much, you're willing to give the extra mile, go the extra mile and give extra to your clients, and they appreciate that. And that's how you build your referrals, because you did such a good job because you enjoyed it so much. They're gonna refer you to their family members. To right now after 18 years, I'm working with the kids of my clients. So so I think that's really what, if I look back, that's really what the success is about. How much you put into your work, how much dedication, how much you give to your client.
So there's a lot of first-time home buyers from New Jersey, is that what you're saying?
I'm sure there are. Yeah, a lot of first-time home buyers, for example, I can tell you, from El Salvador.
Mhm.
There's a huge community from El Salvador. I'm not Salvadorian, but the language, but there's a lot of first-time home buyers from the rural areas too. There's a lot of first-time home buyers that live in apartments in Fredericksburg downtown. So, and you really have to find your niche. I mean, you have to see, well, kind of, I think that when you start, it's kind of, whatever you can do at the very beginning, right? Where are you gonna feel, where you're gonna fit, what kind of client are you gonna get? So if it is, rural area, if it is, luxury homes, just, try to just put the best that you have in you. And like, here we're saying is that, just enjoy what you're doing. We work extra hours, we work Saturdays and Sundays. I don't mind waking up, 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, because it's not like, do it. But we, exactly, I mean, you feel the joy after you do it. So that's my, my 1 minute, I guess.
I agree with everything they're saying. And in addition to that, train. The first thing I did as soon as I got licensed, because I was in college, I thought it would be fun to get in real estate. Surprise, but there's a lot of money here, but you have to be trained, and you have to be trained by the best, and you have to pay for training. So it's one thing to get into a career. It's very cheap to get in. It's very expensive to stay. So you have to go to training. So I always train. That's the first thing I did. I went through Sweat Hogs. And if anybody knows what that is, it's Floyd Wickman. It was very expensive. As a college student, had no money. Cost me $400, which I thought was the end of the world, but I did it. So my first listing, the very first one I took, was from door knocking, and it was a 10% listing. Because I didn't know any better. Like, I got his script, I memorized it, and I went in. I didn't know that wasn't normal. Training. The only way you'll stay in this business is be trained by the best.
All wonderful advice, and certainly what we're trying to do with YPN, we're trying to make those connections, we're trying to get people excited about real estate, and we're trying to educate and network so that you have the power and the tools to go out there and be successful. And if you want to take listings at 10%,
Or more. I've taken one at 12, and I did it because the guy was a jerk. But you can.
I love it. Everything's negotiable.
Everything.
Can I say something on that?
Please.
The one thing that I think it comes across if you're not saying anything against 10 or 12, great. If you, no matter what you can get, that's good. But really, if you're, I found over the years the people that are, we're talking, all love the business. If you love the business and like what you're doing, but one thing you got to remember, the transaction that you're working on, it's not about the dollar for that transaction.
Yep.
If you can put that totally out of your head, and you're working for the referrals, the best interest of that client and the referrals that that person is going to send you. And if you don't make a penny on that deal, just know you're gonna make 3 more transactions where you're gonna get well paid for it. And that's the secret of building the business, is the really the referrals. And
Because there's a lot of times we don't get paid.
Yeah,
I mean,
and sometimes you get one that just comes and you're scared to death because you're going to settlement and not one bad thing has happened and it's a quick deal and you're going to, but just remember, you're going to have to make up for that with future deals because some will drag you out and will be a nightmare. But in the end, it's all about doing the best job you can possibly do so that you get the referrals. And speaking on that note, with the downturn we have, and every downturn we've seen over the years, good agents that are really work hard for their clients do fine in downtimes because they get the referrals. I've never had anyone come into during a downtime come into my office and ask, what commission do we charge? They'll come in and ask, what's your best agent? They don't mind what to spend to get either to find the right house or sell a house. So it's all about the job you do, and don't worry about the money. If you're doing the job, my gosh, the money will come tenfold.
I couldn't agree more, and I feel like when you're out on the streets, you can certainly tell who's representing the best interests of their clients and who's not. And it's always good to work with the other agents that
absolutely
are representing the best interests of their clients. So with 2023 fast approaching, and everybody should be working on business plans.
I was saying, hold on, can we do a show of hands? How many of you are currently working on or already have your 2023 business plan? There you go.
Oh, that's impressive.
Guys, if you don't treat your business like a business, nobody else will. So please make sure that you get with your broker and have your business plan ready to go for 2023.
I know Deb's working on it, so I hope you're very happy.
I was very happy how many hands I just
So let's talk about business plans. And when did you all start your first business plan?
And we'll start down here with Katrina first this
Oh,
time.
good.
Let's bring it out.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Great. I would say during the crash, the first crash, well, not the first crash, because obviously we've seen many, but real estate's easy to do when you're making money. Just go, 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 go. When it turns down, then you have to go back to the basics. And I would say when I almost lost my business in 07 and 08, I went back to business planning. What was I doing? Where was I going? Who was I talking to? What was important? So I would say then, because I had to, but if you don't have a plan, like Sherry said, the market will make one for you. And so it's really important to know where you're going.
Miss Pia?
Yes, well, you know, my background is in business administration, and you have a class of, business plan. And I think that it was so uncertain in me that I just didn't see it and say, okay, well, this is my business plan. And I didn't have a broker who, encouraged me or showed me, this is, but I'm gonna tell, the agents that probably don't have, the broker that tells you, okay, I wanna take a look at your business plan. Just do one simple piece of paper. Just sit down by yourself and think, okay, what is my goal for next year? And how am I gonna get there, right? Very simple. It doesn't need to be pages of pages, because I've seen so many business plans that are, and very nice, colorful, folders, and they're just sitting there. It has to be simple. It has to be something reachable. It has to be something that that you're gonna, just don't. I don't know, I would love to be like the top producer in New York that makes millions and millions. Just be realistic, right, too. So, and it's true what Katrina says, the moment that you're living is what determines what your business plan is gonna be. And don't be afraid to change it in the middle of the year. You don't know what is gonna happen 6 months from now, right? So it has to be flexible as well. That's that's what I would
And
suggest.
to add on what she's saying is, don't put something down you're not willing to do.
Yes.
If you know you're not going to do it, don't build it in. Keep it simple. If you feel like it's too difficult to do a 12-month, do a 3-month, do a day. Just, I'm going to do these things today. And the best way to track whether you're doing it or not is you set your schedule. You always set your schedule. You take a green ink pen and a red ink pen. At the end of the week, you go back and check off in green what you did, that you said you're gonna do, and then you check off in red what you didn't do. And you're gonna be really surprised. And then you ask yourself, if I had an employee that I was paying for over $100,000 for this person to do these tasks, and were they worth it? Did I have enough green in my week? Or are they red? Should I get fired? So it's one way to hold yourself accountable. You're paying your employee and you're the employee. Did you do what you said you're gonna do? And it's okay in the beginning to have reds, because you have to build that, and you gotta be willing to change it, like she said, have some flexible time in there too.
Well, I found, you asked when we do our first one? Well, just about a month ago, going through some paperwork, I found my first business plan, and it's from 1980. So
Wow.
And it was layout of where the dollars were going to come from, just a whole spread.
Okay, I say that's old school spreadsheet,
I
just in
know,
case
but
anybody
hey.
was wondering, we did used to do them on paper and not on the laptop.
This was pretty
Yeah.
impressive for the time, but anyway. So, I agree with everything they've said, but I will, to really make it better going forward for you. First of all, we've got the queen of business planning over here. She does an excellent job in the company. With anybody that's ready, willing, able to get into a business plan, she holds classes and holds them, more importantly, holds them accountable, which is the key to a business plan.
Absolutely.
If you're doing it yourself, find somebody, whoever it might be, to hold you accountable. But one thing I will say, that when you are just during the year, and so you're great, you might do a business plan right now for this coming year, but I think even more important, during the coming year, really track what you're doing each day, where your business is coming from, and where your business is coming from and how you got that business. So if you track that over a period of 12 months, the following year, you're gonna be able to look at where your business came from, where you spent your time. You spent your time a whole bunch over here, but you didn't get a darn thing from it. There's something wrong. Either you gotta change your strategy or spend more time in the areas that your business is coming from. And at the start of the year, say, yeah, I wanna make X number of dollars. I wanna sell. What the hell good is that if you don't have a plan to get there, or don't know what you're good at? Because what might get business from me as an agent, you have a totally different sphere of influence than I have. There are just a few Irish people in Fredericksburg. But
A lot of rednecks though.
yeah, that is very important to realize that rednecks buy houses. So,
Also, all those are good dating tips, I'm just saying, if you're not getting out of it, what you're putting into it, maybe you should.
but I think it's so important to keep you on track during the year, to have a business plan. And you know, if things are not working, you gotta always look at what you're doing. You're not doing the right stuff if you're not being successful. You just need to realize where you need to spend your time and efforts, because I always say it doesn't matter what they're saying in the national press about the economy. We're so blessed to be in this area. There's always business in this area because of the nature of our location, and we can look like geniuses because of where we're located. If we do the right things, the business is there. So a business plan is so important, and keep you on track and keep you going in the right direction. And again, I repeat, make sure and track what you're doing so you can do a better business plan next year.
One thing that I wanted to point it out, and I think that this is great that, you know, agents get the chance to know each other, is that I found in my career that a lot of agents are very kind and willing to share. So if you see somebody that is successful, if you see somebody that started at the same level as you, but it's getting more business, or it's getting, you know, talk to them, share, you know, what was your business plan, what, you know, the broker is important, but then your peers is also important, because you can compare yourself to, I do that with other brokers, I do that with other small companies that are, you know, are kind of the same. What are you doing? What do you think that I can do better? We are competitors, but we also, you know, I don't know if it is different because of this area, because of this association, which I'm very proud of, but people are, you know, agents are kind, and they're willing to share and help. So take advantage of that.
And
as well.
action, don't put it in writing if you're not gonna do it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of beautiful business plans, and they make no money,
Yeah.
so you have to put it in action.
All great advice. It has to be attainable, realistic, and you have to be able to make it happen.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully that gives anyone, oh,
Can I add one thing?
Please.
I'm not on the panel, I wanna add something. In about 2015 or 16, when I was doing all this like business plan and really focused on the business and the production, I had a epiphany that I needed to add my family into my business plan.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
wake up in the morning, we go do this stuff, we're taking a call at 9 o'clock at night, we are asking a lot of those around us. And when I decided, okay, we're gonna go on this vacation, we're gonna do this stuff, and added that into my green check marks or my red, it made a big difference in my career and the happiness that I was able to share with those around me.
That should be the first thing that goes in your
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes in PIN.
Yeah.
Right, cause that's you time.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
do your schedule, which is based on your business plan, cause you do your business plan, then you do your schedule for the week, or whatever you're setting. You write that time in first,
Yeah.
and that's in PIN. It doesn't change,
Yeah.
it's not negotiable. And when I did my first business plan, I had that blocked off first in PIN. I did not work weekends, and I did not work evenings. And there was no exception, unless it was an agent that needed me. Like, as far as clients, I told them, I don't work weekends, so if it's important to you to buy a house, you're gonna work within my schedule. It's my business, and if you don't wanna work with me, that's fine. But it fits in PIN, and I didn't change that, I didn't alter that. And then everything else, you know, your prospecting time goes in, so it's your time, your family time first. Then it's your prospecting time, which is your money making. You manage your deals, that goes in PIN, cause you have to have time to manage your stuff. And then your appointments go in pencil, cause you change, they cancel. But that goes in first, and that's a great point, Clay.
yes, thank you for adding that, and it's something, I'm glad you did, because our focus this year has been work-life balance, because in our industry, it can be consuming. And you're working when your client's not, if you're not setting those expectations and those boundaries, and they can run you ragged at the expense of your family, it feels like. So it's really important to protect that and make sure you nurture that as much as you can.
It's easy to do though, in our industry, so
Oh,
either you run your
100%.
business or your business will run you.
And runs you ragged.
Yeah, so when you're at home, be home. When you're at work, be at work.
And that can be hard these days, because now you're so connected and everyone expects the connectivity. So I've found it's really important to set those expectations and boundaries
Upfront.
up front and communicate so that everyone's on the same page and no one's freaking out when they can't get you because you're at your with your family. But it still happens. Okay, so let's talk about daily routines. What is your daily routine? Anyone
Pia,
wanna start?
Pia, why don't you start this one?
First thing I do when I wake up, it's check my phone. Check my phone, my email, my text messages, whatever I didn't answer the night before. I'm terrible. I have no balance with my family. Terrible.
We're all trying to learn it. It's hard.
Yes, yes.
But what time do you wake up, Pia? That's what I wanna know.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
Very normal. I've seen emails coming in at, I don't know if they programmed them, but you know, before 6 o'clock. But yeah.
So what is the rest of your day? So
Well,
you-
yeah. Well, then I still have a little one at home. My daughter is in college, but I have a 9-year-old boy. So breakfast, because my kids always have done sports and dinner. Sometimes it's you know everybody has their own schedule, but breakfast is always our family meal. So and then I take him to school. Start too late for me, but and then I just go to my office. I try to pick up my son every day, He comes back to my office, he does do homework, and then I continue working. And then I work a good 12 to 15 hours a day.
Wow.
But that's because I'm workaholic. It's not a good example. I'm probably not the best, person that organized their time. I don't know, but I'm a workaholic. I love to work. I not only have real estate, but that's really my day. It's intense, and I don't complain. My kids probably.
Maybe your husband, no, just kidding.
No, he is very, very understandable. We grew up in a family, his family had a business too, and my family had businesses. So, when you're your own boss, people think, you can manage your time, oh, that's, fine, you can go on vacation wherever, you want, but it's hard, you work a lot. I wish one day, one of my kids will take over the business and I will just receive a check every month, right?
So say, how's that working, Kevin?
Dream on.
I think, well, it's true, Kevin, because I talk to some agents that I know that been here for a while, and their kids are also in the business and they're still doing business. It's just, something about this business that you can't let it go.
You die in it.
But, yeah. So it's, that's my busy day.
I love it. It certainly gets in your blood, and I was raised in the industry, so my school bus dropped me off at the carriage house, and I feel like the business family was my extended family, and so I'm sure your son benefits from all that extra love and attention. It's a good way to put a spin on it.
It's a great way to put a spin on it. I don't have a schedule at all. So my daughter's in college now. So I'm on call 24 hours a day, and my personality is, as if you've ever took her DISC training, and she's going to be doing some more classes on it, is I'm an ID, which means I'm inspiring, outgoing, influential. Don't like schedules. Don't set schedules. My husband's back there like, 'cause he's like, no. I like a very fluid schedule, and mainly when I was an agent, which I did both, brokered and agent, you have to have a schedule because you're producing. Right, and I produce a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm on call all the time for the agents. So for me to actually do a schedule causes me some anxiety, and I feel like I'm being boxed in. But we're going to work on that, business planners. So I wake up, I check my phone, which is absolutely the wrong thing to do. I'm more productive when I don't check the phone. There's no emergency that I need to get with that early. If I read a book, if I do some meditation, and if I work out. So that's the things I should be doing. Not really doing that now. Again, real estate's very fluid. You have to make your own schedule. You have to set the schedule. And the reason I don't set a schedule is I'm not willing to commit to what I'm going to do that day. Because Sherry is a bad influence. So,
Wait a minute.
But Sherry's a time blocker.
Yes.
Really? You book in those fireballs? But again, your day should be, prospecting should be number one. And always on the mentality of I service my clients, but I'm getting more and I'm building relationships. Who am I going to help today? Who am I going to talk to today? Who needs me? And just like he said, you build a career on the referrals. And who do you need to help that day?
Okay, wait, hold on, but now what time do you wake up?
It doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant.
Uh-huh.
Totally irrelevant.
Did you have to set the alarm for this morning?
Yes. I stay up late though, so that it offsets it.
Mm-hmm.
We love it, love it. All right, Mr.
Do you want me
Breen.
to lie? I get up at 7 every single day. I work out, I meditate, and I immediately go into writing handwritten note cards.
Never once ever told a lie.
Very honest.
But this morning was a little different than usual. This morning I got up 6 o'clock. I had something at 6:30, and then I had something again at Rotary meeting at 7:30, and then here at 9 o'clock. So busy morning. But my normal routine would be I get up around 6. I absolutely love early morning. It's a quiet time. I read. My wife, not real happy that I read two newspapers early in the morning, but I scan 2 newspapers early in the morning.
Do they still have newspapers? Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes, I absolutely love that. We talked about that. Love that talk. I'll plan the day. I check my schedule. I put off as long as I can before I go near the dreaded emails, because that just throws you into a spin. You're reacting and you're, oh crap, I got to this, but before you get to the emails, I have my quiet time and been used to getting up early morning, going for long runs before work. I can't do that anymore, so now I enjoy the quiet. I think quiet time is so important. It's not necessarily, sometimes quiet time can be reading or doing whatever, but just, you gotta spend a little bit of time where you're not being stimulated by the world. And think about it, guys. When do you have 5 minutes? I am so guilty of jumping in the car, turn the radio on, listen to talk radio, listen to whatever. You're being bombarded. The past few days I've been doing great. Riding in my car with no radio on. And it's a great time to think, and it gets your thoughts organized. But we are so bombarded that it is so difficult to get that quiet time. And if you can find it, relish it, because things will go through your head, and priorities will come in place if you really try to find that quiet time. I visit at least 3 offices every day, so I am working, even though I'm enjoying a lot of times quiet time in the car. And that's a great time to plan. Let's see what my dreaded emails, I mentioned that. I do, yeah. And just about every day I work on financials for the company. I mean, we do a ton of still do a ton of checks, even though we do commissions and all that electronically, but a lot of checks are written. And I actually sign every check because it helps me keep a handle on what's going on. I know that my role is so much different that I do not sell anymore, I do not list anymore, but I think it still goes the same. If you get up early in the morning, get your busy work out of well, have your quiet time, get your busy work out of the way, and then it opens you up for everything else that you guys were talking about. So that's kind of it. I will say, I had this little note here for a later question, but in addressing your thing about family, when I was on the street working long hours, just give you an idea, my first year in real estate, and you have to remember running around, my first full year was 78. I started in the summer of 77. 78 was when Carter was in office and interest rates were 16, 17%. My first year I sold 32 houses and I made $32,000. My average sales price was $57,000, which was higher than the average around at the time. So, you know, when you had to drive to get every initial on every contract, you know, I was putting in a lot of hours. But it was something that was sacred because we had three young boys. Wednesday night, everybody in the company knew not to try and get me on a Wednesday night, because Wednesday night from 7 to 9, my wife and I played tennis, and it was sacred. There was an earthquake could happen. We were still going to go play tennis on that night, and that really was very important. And I'd say for you guys with young kids, it's so important to make sure that your marriage is strong and that you're building a life away from your kids, because your kids eventually will be gone, and that's so important to keep that relationship and make sure you make time for your wife, not for your kids, for your wife, your husband.
And how long have you two been married? Because that's a testimony.
Well, 42 years.
Yeah.
Well, but still, that is very important, because this business, it's so much fun, and but it's like gambling. I mean, it can suck you in.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, and well, it is a gamble, right? But
we do have information if you're having a problem in the back of the room.
But you do get a adrenaline pump from the business, and and I'm not being sexist in any way, but you see it with women that have had a family and then decide to get into the business, and all of a sudden they
get
passionate about it, and it's a tremendous adrenaline pump for them. It's something they have not been getting because they've been so tied up with kids, family, getting to school, all the rest. And again, I'm not being sexist when I say that, but that is true. You'll see women that will just absolutely love real estate and just get it in, what's the word for it, just sucked in. And it's so easy. You have to be very careful that you make time for family.
I've seen Clay look like that sometimes. I've seen your passion come out.
Yeah.
See?
Well, that is a fantastic segue into our next topic about how you balance your personal and professional
I screwed that
lives.
up.
You just went right into it.
Yeah.
Let's go with Katrina.
Again, you put it in the calendar first.
Yeah.
It's the first thing. Your time, your family time, anything that's important to you, that comes first. Real estate's not a life, it's what you do to get a life. It's a pathway. And it is passionate, it's fun, and it is engaging and negotiating, you have to have you time, you have to have family time, and that's most important because if you're in this industry long enough, you'll burn out. And so what do? You have to do a restart. Everybody has a career restart. Don't feel bad about having to do a restart, everybody does. But if you gotta take care of you first, your family first, and that goes in and it's non-negotiable. Vacation, you have to do at least one a quarter in this industry. It should at least be a week.
Can you make sure you tell Mike downstairs?
I would like that quarterly
And when you do
vacation.
your business plan, how many weeks are you taking on vacation? It should be written in. You don't work 52 weeks. That's not what we're in this industry for. 48 weeks, that's reasonable, right? But that goes in first.
I love it, thank you. Pia?
She said she doesn't have that, remember?
I feel terrible.
Pia's taking notes on how she
Yeah.
can have business.
You're not
alone, I'm with you.
Yeah.
We're all there, which is why we're trying so hard to figure it out.
Yeah, I
You
forgot my
know,
daughter at school once,
this-
so put it in your calendar first.
Well, let me tell you guys that this question for me, I am thankful for the question and for what we're sharing here because I'm gonna have a homework now. And I'm gonna share it with my family. I have, I feel like I can, make myself available. Again, we have flexible schedule. We can, work around and I'm on my kids' presentations and soccer games and I go to New York, in the day just to watch my kid play. It's important. It's probably not written in a paper. I feel like I'm on a depth side with my family, and but I'm grateful and I'm with you, Kevin. Take care of your spouse because the kids. They leave, right? And then, you're with your
hope
partner.
they leave, but sometimes they come back.
Well, yeah, so I'm more than welcome, for them to come back, but, I'm lucky that my husband is really, he has been with me we've been married for 25 years and he understands the business but it's true, it's an important question, guys, just, discuss it with your family. I have no balance. Yeah, my business, my career drives my rest of my life. So, yeah.
All right. So you know what? So January 2nd, January 3rd, I'll be stopping by your office and asking you.
Okay.
I want to give Pia a little credit though because I went to visit her at her brokerage a couple months ago or whatever, and her office is set up in my mind as a second home. She has space for her children to flourish. She has a kitchen table where she served a delicious meal, and we sat down and had time to have balance. Whether it's in those four walls, it was still an actual genuine time to get out of the work mode and share.
And the toys and stuff there, I mean, you're right.
I didn't play with the toys, but they looked good. they were there, and there was like inclusion of so you're doing
Thank you,
well.
Clay.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Breen.
Well, I covered a lot of it already, but I guess, we do have to recognize that our business is unique, from the standpoint that we do have time, in the middle of the day. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So with my boys growing up, they all played soccer and different sports, and I never missed any of their soccer games, even though I was working the hours that I was working, the crazy hours. So it does give you that flexibility. So you have to give credit to the business that we are able to do things, in the middle of the week during the day. We're not commuting to 3 hours a day and all the rest. But I think the life balance is so important. I think if you really do it right, you're a better agent and you're probably more successful because you're more on your game. When you're on your game, if you're doing it 24/7, you're worn out. You're moody. You need time away from it, and you got to plan that. Again, going back to planning, it needs to be put in your plan. Make sure you have time off and time for your family, time for yourself as well. I mean, that's important.
All great advice, and it seems like in this challenging market, those challenges can be encompassing and they can follow you, and sometimes it's very easy to take those challenges home, and so I do my best to leave those at the office as much as I can and not take them home to my family, but I'm sure they would say otherwise.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that we could ask Chris right now. I mean, Katrina never brings work home.
Never.
Okay.
No, and make sure whoever you're in front of, they're getting the best of you. Your family is getting the best of you because you're present. Your client is getting the best of you because you're present. And if you don't separate the two, you time, them time, business time, nobody gets the best of you.
I just wanna add something to that. Everyone in this industry, we're always multitasking, and we think we're multitasking well. You're never multitasking well, and that is so truly important, what Katrina just said of, giving who's in front of you. If you're in a class, give it your all, because you're in the class, obviously, to absorb the knowledge to implement back into your plan. And the only other thing I wanna add is my family, we do a family business plan first. My husband and I sit down and do a business plan of what we want the family to look like and to do. Then we incorporate the kids' ideas into the business plan. I put that into my work business plan. And I have a famous saying when I teach is, if you remove it, you must replace it. The one thing that never, ever, ever gets removed is what my family wants and what I have put in my business plan for them, like Katrina said. So I've seen it, I've been in the industry long enough. You will burn out and you will crash and burn and lose relationships if you do not put that number one.
Love it. Another reason that you're queen of business. Okay, reading. Let's talk about books. What are you all reading now? It can be paper, it can be on print, or it can be, I don't have time to read.
Well, and actually, and I would, when I put this question down here, like, I really do want to know, like, do you still read the books? Do you like the feel of it? Are you listening to stuff, or is that not part of what you do?
I like podcasts, but I like books. And not that I read a lot of them, have to be short and little, a lot of pictures like those. Always something industry related. So like right now, Chris and I both, we come out of the Bob Proctor training where we did that, and I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich. Just another platform that's, again, has to be short. It's gotta be motivational. I just don't have the attention span to sit down and read a big book. And a lot of podcasts. Brian Buffini's podcast, for those that are listening to him, his stuff is amazing.
Not a good Irishman.
He's a great Irishman. Did you guys know each other? I have to ask, because what he said. Do you know Brian?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because he was heavy into athleticism, athletes, that sort of stuff, and your story, I was like,
I know.
Very similar thing.
Maybe you competed against him and you don't even know it. Ooh.
I would know it.
Pia, what about you?
I'm very proud to say that a couple of weeks ago, I finished one book, and I was surprised of myself because, I was never, I used to read many years ago, and I have one waiting in the library that probably came already, but I haven't had the time to pick it up. So, It's I don't know, I made time to read, so I guess I can have time to read. I just never knew. Or didn't enjoy it for a long time. Huh?
What book was it?
The Giver.
Oh,
And it's
such a good book.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just, looking for books for my son to see, from books that my daughter read in school, see if I could, instead of buying, get something. And I found this one that my daughter read. I know pretty much everybody probably read it in elementary or high school. But I enjoyed it, and it was nice to see her little notes on the side. And I think that was also that kept me, reading and tried to finish it. So that's mine. And the one that is waiting for me is from Isabel Allende. I don't know the title in English, but it's it's something like the Japanese Lover or something like that. So.
You'll have to let us know how that goes.
Yes.
Wait, what language is it?
It's in English. The author is from Chile, but she lives in San Francisco. She has been recognized here in the U.S. as one of the most important writers, and so it's very interesting.
And
All
Kevin?
right, for escape from reality, I love espionage and spy novels, and especially when I'm on a trip, I would always read one. First of all, I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you my age. I'm 27 and dyslexic. Okay. So a book I'm reading right now, and honestly, it's really nothing got to do with my age, but when I look across you guys, it would be a great book for you guys to read now, and well, you all know that most football games are won in the last quarter, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what happened in those first 3 quarters, what happens in that last quarter. So my book is The Fourth Quarter of Your Life, and it's by Matthew Kelly, and it's very, very interesting. Can we meet again about a week when I'm finished? But about halfway through it, and it's very enlightening. It doesn't, like I said, it does not matter what you did in your past, whether you did everything wrong or did everything right. It's what you're doing now and what you're doing going forward, and I think that really brings home that point. And I love it because it's got big print too.
So if it's in the first quarter of your life, is it in like a size 6 font? And then the books just get bigger as you go through?
Why I don't mind telling you guys that, because nobody knows what quarter we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an interesting book because it puts some focus on where you are or where you should be, no matter what age you are. And but most importantly, if you're 27 and dyslexic, it's probably very, very, very good reading. So that's my book.
Wonderful, all good books, thanks for sharing. So let's talk about technology and apps. What is your favorite app right now? It can be personal or professional.
Anybody, go ahead.
I'll have to say for real estate, being around for so long and wishing that, all the different technology, the different apps, everything, they're all out here and they're all over the place, and you have different passwords to get into this, and I feel like my dream has come true, and it's great for you guys because, I know in the company, everything is now coming together at last after talking about this for years and years and years, pulling everything you do into one. We have Coldwell Banker uses Moxie, and anytime you can do that, pull everything together, it saves so much time. You don't have to go to one piece of technology or one app or wherever to develop your business.
Is Moxie something just for Coldwell Banker, or is that?
It's the Coldwell Banker version, but Moxie was a company out here that was very, very successful and used by a lot of realtors. But I am so excited that we have that, and Deb, you could even expand on that a little bit. Do you get what I'm talking about? We have it's like a hub, and you can tie in all the different technologies to that hub, the best in the class for whatever it might be, whether it's your CRM or whatever. It's all tied together, and then it cuts down on the amount of work you have to do. You can, not totally, but let's say a single entry, and it spreads into so many different areas. But that's after all the years of seeing promises of great technology and go here, go there, go everywhere. This is fantastic for agents, and any technology or any stuff you're getting into, look at it from a time saving standpoint, and try and put it all together where it's single entry, one place to go for everything you need. That's so important, I think.
We're all looking for that one stop.
Yes,
Yep.
one-stop shop.
I'll give you a couple. One, we have something very similar, and I'm probably in it the most. It's similar to that. It's one hub and I use it to send out business cards. I have a mobile business card, and so that's great. But in your business, just as universally, HomeSnap. If you got the professional version, how many have the professional version? The $500 one. 2. It's great. If you have, it's hard. And what you don't know that the app can do, because it's worth the money, is it has a little section in there when you search for homes. It's got a filter if you have the pro version. And the filter will tell you who's most likely to list, who's least likely to list, how much equity is in their house in a community. You just grid it up and it pulls that information for you to prospect on that. So HomeSnap is a huge resource. And if anybody needs me to show you, I've got it back there. But again, prospecting your neighborhoods, the data, how long they've owned it, phone numbers, emails, all kinds of information. Facebook links. The pro version is pretty amazing. It's worth it. The second one that I just heard of is called Productive App. Do you have Productive App? Anybody have it? Is that the name of it we're looking at? You get a free trial, but it records your conversations. So when you answer your phone, it pops up a link. Again, this is legal because you know you're being recorded. It records it, transcribes it, and links it to your CRM. Then it will do tasks based on it. So when they hang up, you say, okay, I need to call them in a week. So it saves it, it sends it to your CRM automatically, then it creates a task in your calendar for you to remind you to call that person back.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. So we're doing the free trial right now to see how it works, and you can pull it, it's productive.app, and it has a video of how it works, but it's pretty phenomenal. That's how many times are we driving and we don't remember the conversation, we can't get their phone number. So the fact that it transcribes, links to your calendar, links to your CRM, gives you tasks and items to do is pretty phenomenal.
All right, so I definitely see we've got some follow-up here too. So follow up with Kevin about the book to see how good it is. Follow up with your business plan, and let's follow up about that app. Okay. All right, we've already got our January plan.
If we were recording it, it'd put it right in our thing, our task.
Oh, I don't know, that'd be a little scary for me. I don't want to record.
Well, Google's already recorded it. I don't know what you're recording on Facebook. Every time I mention anything, it pops up on my ad.
The good and the bad. Pia, are there any apps that you're using?
No, same. I'm not a very technology person, but I use the
HomeSnap.
but I probably use just the basic. I'm very, very basic. No.
I would like to say I have an awesome app that I use all the time, and I can turn this side up, I can turn this side down if I don't want to listen to them. I can hone in on what you're saying. It's just unbelievably beneficial.
Is it called a hearing aid?
No, it's my app on my phone for my hearing aids. I'm telling you, it is just unbelievable, guys. It's amazing what you can do with it. You can listen to the people talking behind you. Turn it off. Yeah, you can also turn it off.
All right, hearing aids for everybody. Yay!
I feel like we have selective hearing anyway.
Yes.
So we're gonna combine a couple questions because I think we've taken the hour and we're cognizant of everybody's time for the panelists and the members. Last question. So who was instrumental in getting you where you are today, and what was that deciding factor between going from agent to broker?
What was
Sure, you can start, Kevin.
deciding factor going from agent to broker, it was just a snap decision. I was happy where I was working, and but something came up on a contract that was, in my mind, totally unethical. And I walked in and said, I'm leaving. I wasn't really sure where I was going at the time, and it was, the broker was buying a property that I had put a contract on, and when we were presenting the contract, the broker said, oh wow, I didn't realize, said to the seller was a bank, I didn't realize you would sell for that amount of money. It was like $75,000. And the banker said, well, I haven't signed the contract yet if you want to buy it for $75,000. And to me, you know, we were representing a client, and that just, and not because I lost a deal, probably wouldn't have lost a deal anyway, but it's just not right. You represent, and all we've got in this business, guys, is our good name and our reputation, and you cannot get involved in stuff like that. So that's, it broke my heart to leave at the time, but left, and Allison's dad and I started the company. That's the reason I left.
A good reason.
Yeah. I guess growing up, my dad was a salesman, and just watching him, he'd be gone all week, come home on a Friday night, and he'd have a box of money. No checks, right? And while my mom was getting his dinner late on a Friday night, we'd sit around and count all the money, have everything ready for him. And so we got a very, very early start in money and counting. And Dad, I don't really know how it started. We had a little candy store to try and make ends meet. Mom and Dad had 6 kids, and we were, my dad was making, I think it was like $15 to $18 a week. And so we were well fed and well dressed and all the rest, but it's kind of funny, I'm the only one of the 6 of us that went to college, but my younger brother owns a wine business in France. My older brother had a factory in China. So from this little poor family, I call it a 4-bicycle family, we all ended up getting into business. My younger sister still runs a farm, and they board dogs and all the rest, and raise jumpers, hunters, horses. So every one of us got in business. Came from quite a poor family, but it's I think my dad, he worked so hard, and just seeing my siblings, they all going out and taking chances and being successful, and that sort of stemmed me. I always wanted to, I call it insecure security when you have a job, 9-to-5 job, because you can walk in any day and somebody tells you don't have a job anymore, and that was a big motivation for me to control my own life, control my own direction, and real estate was just absolutely the vehicle for me to do that, and that's why I've been in it for all these years. So.
Aww, I know. Okay.
It's hard to follow. Don't start with him. Really unfair advantage.
Sorry.
I've gotten real estate in college, like I said, and I had my license in Virginia and Tennessee. Then I got into appraisals, and I did that as well in North Carolina and Virginia. So we see 2 different sides of that coin, and very similar to what he said. I was reviewing mortgage fraud appraisals. I was being hired by the bank and the federal government here. And I thought, there's a lack of professionalism in the industry of selling the largest product a consumer will ever own. And that's what catalyst got me into being a broker. I'm like, okay, you know what, I feel I have some knowledge that I can help teach, train, coach, so that this is not the reputation that we have. Eventually I had to put my license as an appraiser on inactive status because I was reviewing cases of agents here with mortgage fraud. So, you know, I let that go, but for me it was, you know, we could do better. The industry can do better. There needs to be better standards. Not everybody should be in real estate, just like not everybody should own a house. And so for me, it was the passion of, this is a good industry. It is the right industry. We need the right people. And there's a good book, getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off. It's a really good one, and that's what we're in, is real estate. And we're gonna lose a lot of agents going to this market, and we should.
The
And we
bad
should.
part, can I say the bad part is,
We'll lose
the
good
down
ones
market
too.
with some, some of the ones that we should lose, we won't.
Right.
And some-
True that.
And some of the good ones,
Yeah.
we could lose, so.
It's 100%
sorry.
right. No, that's 100% right. And again, it's a great industry, but you're dealing with the largest product a consumer will ever own. Do your best. Train. Go to professional training. Do your local training. Do your business plan. Again, it's a disservice to not know what you're doing. And if you're in it for the money, this is the wrong industry. Yes, you can make a lot of money here, but you can also go to jail, because mortgage fraud is a real thing.
Perfect. And certainly something that we as YPN, we want to educate, and we want to network, and we want, realtors, young at heart, young in the business, we want them to be set up for success and to have the correct tools that they need for success, and to know where they can come to get them. So we echo what you're saying. Thank
Was
you.
there like 1, 2 people, was there like a few people that kind of pushed you to where you are now?
Coaching. Obviously the family, your family supports you. My father was an entrepreneur. He always said, you don't work for somebody, work for yourself. So I was raised that way, and we were raised very, very poor, paycheck to paycheck, but he became a very successful contractor. And so it was, yes, we had the work ethic, like be your own boss. And real estate, you are your own boss. And should you be, though? Like, some people won't do what they're supposed to do.
They should fire themselves?
They should fire themselves. I really wish we could fire a lot of people, just randomly, like how they do in football where they throw that flag. Like, we should be able to be like, nope, you're out. What color would that be? Would that be yellow or red? Red.
Possibly wrong sport.
Oh. Okay, whatever.
We get what you're saying. There should be a warning and there should be an out.
Interesting that basically the three of us probably has the same start. My family also owned their own business. My father was a business owner, so I think that it runs in our veins, right? It's and I will be a terrible employee. I will be, outspoken, and I will, I don't know. So I don't see myself with a boss. So and I owe my business to my clients. Yeah, those are the reason why I'm here and why I'm successful. So
Wonderful. Okay, so closing question. What's the one piece of advice that you wish people gave you when you were starting out in the business? Let Katrina.
Start your database with a CRM. Like, if I could go back 20 years ago, I would have immediately done a CRM as far as business-wise. And commitment. You have to be committed to be here. But the CRM is probably the biggest thing. I've lost so much money of not contacting past clients that the day one, I wish somebody said to incorporate yourself in a business and get a CRM, a good CRM, or just Excel, whatever you can do to manage your database.
I when I started, I had a very, very good broker. He really didn't have a big office. He really had the office because he had so many properties that needed to manage. He owns a lot of rentals, and he was very good giving me advices. And so everything that I learned for 10 years with him, it was great. But the one thing that he didn't encourage me or taught me was to become a member of FAR and get involved with FAR.
Oh, that's great advice, Pete. Did everyone hear that? Yes. Get involved with your local Realtors Association.
Yes.
Okay.
And because yes, of course. And I think that was the only and I probably if I should have done it at the very beginning, there's a lot that you can learn from your association, and education is really what will set you apart from the the rest are just the common, agents, and here we get a lot of education, and, so that was, I think, that the only advice that I didn't get. So I'm giving to you. Nice to see you over here.
Perfect. Kevin?
I would say, and we talked a lot about this through the past over an hour on, you know, planning and everything else, but, kind of putting it in a nutshell what they're saying, spend more time working on your business. You know, when I say more time, some of us don't spend any time working on our business versus in our business. We can get pulled, dragged all different directions, and so your day is gone. And I remember going home and my wife would say, "What'd you do today?" I have no idea. I am worn out. So you go, you know, every little squirrel, you know. And so if you can control that in some way where you're, you know, plan your days and make sure that you're spending time building your business, not letting other people control 100% of your time. I mean, that's really, really important. That's advice I'd probably give.
Fantastic advice.
And on what he said, money goes where it's invited and stays where it's welcome. So if you don't watch your money, you don't keep an eye on what you're doing, you can spend a lot of time in real estate and make no money.
Hold on, say that again?
Money goes where it's invited and stays where it's welcome.